wouldn't consider buying a house to live in an investment. You get an asset, but you're buying an asset that funds your housing consumption. It kind of pays you a dividend that's sort of like getting rent from the house that you own. But when you do the side-by-side comparison, which I think is the only way to think about this, if you compare buying a house, so that means in Canada, you'd usually save up for a 20% down payment. So you put 20% down in your house. You take out a mortgage to finance the rest. You're now living in the house, you're paying your mortgage payment, you're paying for some maintenance costs, you're paying for property taxes. Alternatively, you could have rented the house. That 20% that went into buying a home could have been invested in the stock market. So again, we're back to the idea of opportunity costs. And the other important thing here is that renting typically has lower cash flow costs than owning. So these are the unrecoverable costs of owning a home. Mortgage interest. So that's when you buy a house and you borrow to fund the purchase, you're paying interest to the bank. I call these unrecoverable costs. That's money that you're paying for the use of money in this case, and you're not going to get those dollars back. Opportunity costs. So that's what I just mentioned. Whatever equity you have in a home is equity that you could have otherwise invested in the stock market. The capital portion, the principal, the price of homes has increased around inflation, at the rate of inflation, maybe a little bit higher historically. Stocks have far outpaced inflation. So by having money sitting in a house as opposed to invested in the stock market, you have what is called an opportunity cost. You're not earning returns you could have otherwise been earning. So that opportunity cost is one of the largest costs of owning a home. I've got mortgage interest, the opportunity cost of equity. Property taxes are another big unrecoverable cost. Property taxes vary depending on where you are, but it's say between 0.5% and 1%, maybe sometimes a little bit higher. You get utilities and some services in exchange for it, but it's an unrecoverable cost. You pay that, you've got nothing left afterwards. Then we've got maintenance costs.
Oh, this is the annoying one.
It's the annoying one, and it's the one that I think people underestimate the most.
Mm-hmm.
I started making content about renting versus owning a home years ago. I used to say 1% was a reasonable estimate of maintenance costs, and people would push back and say that's way too high. There's a bunch of academic literature on this too. It says it could well be over 2%. I think that's probably a more reasonable estimate. Having been a homeowner now for 6 years after renting prior to that, I'm fairly confident, at least in my case, that maintenance costs are far higher than 1 or 2% of the property value per year.